Okay, I'm standing here in North Jakarta looking out at Jakarta Bay if I crouch down a little bit. Jakarta Bay is open ocean, but it's also the area where all of the major rivers from Jakarta drain into Jakarta Bay. The problem with that is those rivers are often the vehicle for waste disposal. So people who live in informal settlements or slums with no regular waste collection will often just deposit their wastes into the rivers, and the rivers then flow out into Jakarta Bay. What happens then is ringing Jakarta Bay is a whole series of mangrove forests or just mangrove ecosystems. And if I pan around slowly, you can see the impact of all of this plastic waste that then is driven onshore by the waves and the wind and ends up locked in the mangroves. What this does is it tends to choke off certainly the roots. If I zoom in here slowly, you can see the root system. It takes a little while to adjust. There we go. You can see the root system of the mangroves that are kind of reaching up towards the sky, if I can put it that way, and that's a great place to collect all of this plastic waste. Now this is a forest, believe it or not, and the Department of Forestry, the national government department responsible for forests, is attempting to protect about 45 hectares of mangrove. It's used as an educational resource. School groups come here, industry groups come here to learn about mangroves and actually sometimes to donate to support mangroves. And they've built a series of walkways through the mangrove to make it really easy for people to learn. What you can see here are some replanted seedlings. These are probably about a year old. And then in the background, a couple of years old, maybe 2 to 3 years old. They grow very quickly. And mangroves are incredibly important for sequestering carbon. They take up carbon at an astonishing rate. Something like, we were just talking to a forestry official, and as there's a plane overhead making some noise, the forestry official said that 1 hectare of mangrove can take up 50 tons of carbon per year. And the life cycle of a mangrove is probably 30 to 50 years. So you can imagine year over year over year taking up 50 tons of carbon per hectare. So the more you can protect mangrove forest, the more this functions as a carbon sink, offsetting carbon emissions worldwide. And the more you can actually restore mangrove or increase the amount of mangrove, the more carbon is taken up. But again, a huge challenge is plastics. And all around the world, mangroves, obviously grow on the edges of rivers and on the edges of bays and oceans, so they're very susceptible. I'll zoom in one last time. I don't want to make you seasick, but I'll zoom in. It takes a while for the camera to adjust. What I'm looking at here is roughly 90% of single-use plastic. The one item here that's not single-use plastic is somebody's hard hat. They lost it in the river or threw it in the river and it floated down to here. But what else can you see here? Large water jugs, styrofoam, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of single portion water containers, these little Aqua or Rio containers. The other thing that's really popular in Indonesia, unfortunately, is single-use containers or packets or sachets, I think is what they call them here, for things like laundry soap or dishwashing soap. It's a way for people who don't have a lot of money or even a lot of storage space to still have access to soap. And, so instead of buying a 20-liter jug of soap that needs a lot of space to store, they will buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of single-use packages, plastic, all made of plastic, that they use one at a time. And over the course of a year, they might use 200 of these single-use packages, and then that ends up here in the mangrove. And I'm just going to end up zooming in on one of these packages. There it is, a little bit fuzzy. And that's where I'm going to stop.